Okay, hey everybody. We're here to do Advent of Code Day 3, and I just put my son to sleep. It's 9 o'clock on the dot, so let's take a look. Let's see. In our sample input, we've got battery voltage ratings. Each line is a single bank. We need to turn on exactly 2 batteries. Find the largest possible voltage each bank can produce. Above example. Okay. Is that not how this works? Okay. Okay, we did it. Took about 15 minutes to get the second part. First part was pretty quick. A little messy, mostly because I don't know how to do things in Python. So let's clean it up and look at it together. So for part 1, we're trying to make the biggest 2-digit number from our battery string. Here's our little battery. And we're trying to make the biggest 2-digit number. So basically, that means I want to take the biggest digit that I can to start, because that's like the first digit is always going to trump the second digit. So I'm going to look through the whole string except for the last digit, because I can't take this as my first digit because they're kind of in order. I'm not allowed to reorganize them in any way. So to do that, I basically just get the maximum of the string not counted of everything except for the last item. And then once I do that, I just want to get the maximum of the rest of the thing. So if I took the first digit here, then I'm going to take the maximum of all of these. If for this one I went all the way through and I took the second and last digit, then I'm stuck with taking the last digit. In this one, if I took the 9, I can't take the 8 because I've already gone past the 9. I got to take the best that's in the rest, which here is going to be 2. So let's look at my messy Python code here. So first I read the input. I'm cutting off the last one because there's an empty line at the bottom when I paste it. I don't know why that is, but maybe that's just how it's written. So I parse the input, split it on new lines, chop the last character. Then I go through line by line. And this was my way of getting the line into, converting my line into an array of integers. Because at this point it's a string and I want to convert it to an array of integers. I don't know if this is the best. I'm not a Python guy, so I'm a little unfamiliar with the syntax, but basically I like broke the string into individual characters, and then I map over each of them and make it into an integer, and then I convert my map into a list because map returns what do you call it, an iterator. Okay, anyways, that worked. Then I get my first digit, which is going to be the maximum of that list of integers, not counting the last one. I did this kind of janky thing where I just like advanced up to the point where I had seen that integer. There's got to be a better way to do that. Let's just bang it out real quick. What is it? Line dot find, line dot index. Return the first integer. Say that would have been better. So I should have said index equals line dot or so I would have said d1 index equals line dot index d1 rest equals something like that. Is that my correct answer still? Yes. So that's much cleaner. I could even do something like that. I think that's much cleaner than I had before. So basically, I find my first digit, I get the index of that digit, chop my line into just the remaining bit, get the second digit, and get my jolt. So that's going to be the first digit times 10 plus the second digit. Pretty simple stuff. That one went pretty quickly. There is no leaderboard, so I'm not actually sure if it says how fast I did it anywhere. Oh, some people did some stuff here. That's cool. View your own personal times. Oh, there we go. Okay, so that took about 5 minutes, not counting a little bit of settling in since I literally had just run into the room as the calendar opened. Let's look at part 2. So for part 2, it's going to be a little more complicated because you can choose up to 12 digits. But the logic is still sort of the same because the first digit is always going to trump the rest of the digits, right? If I can get a 9 up front, it doesn't matter what the rest of the digits are. If I have anything smaller than a 9 up front, the number with the 9 in front is just going to be bigger. So that's that. So basically what I did in the moment was, I set up similarly with my broken everything into individual integers in a list and individual lines, blah, blah, blah. So the way I thought about it in my head was, oops, I'm like opening a bunch of programs on accident. I don't know if you can see these. Just close that. So the way I thought about it in my head was, like, basically if I'm picking 12 digits, that more or less means I can skip 3 digits. Of course, the actual input is way bigger. So in this one, I can skip a lot more digits. But I was kind of thinking, like, I have this number of digits I can skip while I'm looking for my maximum digit at this point in time. Because I always want to be greedy. I always want to take the biggest possible one first and then worry about the rest of them. So how I set that up was, I basically calculate the number of digits I can skip using the line length, again, because the actual input is much longer than the sample input, and I want it to work for both. And then basically I start going through the string. I start at the first index. I didn't even use this variable, that's a dangling variable. I start collecting my digits. While I haven't collected all 12, I basically am looking at what's the maximum digit I can get from my current point if I look forward as many skips as I have available to me. Right, so if I can skip 3 numbers, like we're looking at the example, I can skip up to 3 numbers, then I want to look at starting from the beginning up to 3 numbers plus 1 more, because if I've skipped 3, then I can access the 4th one, right? So I'm looking at the first 4 numbers. What's the maximum digit I can get there? And then I'm figuring out how many skips did I actually use. So to do that, I used a while loop and I just went 1 index at a time. Is this the best one? Is this the best one? Is this the best one? Again, I think we can optimize that using the index method, which I just learned about a second ago. So I could say next index equals, oh no, well, is that gonna work? I could do that, but it'd be not as clean as I thought, because I'm gonna have to keep jumping. Anyway, I'll look at that in a second. So what I did in the moment was I advanced my index 1 at a time, using up my skip until I reached what I knew was going to be the optimal next digit. Once I found that next digit, advance the index 1 more time, because I've just used that digit, and I append that digit to my eventual output number. Then I calculate the final joltage, and this was giving me some trouble in Python. Like, I knew what I wanted to do and how I would do it in some other languages, but something about the syntax here was tripping me up, right? Because digits is an array, and I have an array of digits, and I feel like there should be an easy way to go from an array of digits to an integer. But instead, I did this where I convert them to a string, and I join them like this, and then I convert them back into an integer. Something that was tripping me up was you can't join integers. You have to convert them to strings first. See, it says concatenate any number of strings. I thought I could just concatenate anything. Maybe that's because I've been using JavaScript sometimes, where you can just like join up integers and that works fine, and you can also split integers, split whatever. Like, I don't know. Anyways, so this is how I did it. Then I just add up my joltage, just like before, and print the total. Let me see if there's an easy. I'm gonna look it up. Python convert list of into a number. Oh, see, look, they did the same thing. I thought about doing something like this, multiplying by 10. I also was thinking about some kind of reduce, which I've never used in Python, but I thought it must exist. Apparently you have to import it. It's basically the same as the other one, though. Okay, well, that was interesting. So I guess this is close to the optimal. I'm gonna also put it into an integer in the same line because I like that better. Okay, well, we did it. It went pretty smoothly, honestly. I felt like I had my approach very quickly. And the only thing I really struggled with was like some of this type conversion syntax in Python. Well, we've got our 2 gold stars. So maybe I'll see you again tomorrow. Take it easy.